Hi, everyone. I am welcoming Robert Sharp with part 2 of Rascal, the Dogman. So Robert's going to continue from where he left off and tell you the rest of everything that happened. Hi, Robert.
Hey, everyone. Well, I'm going to start off where I left off. But first, I want to explain the Dogman, what the difference between the Dogman family and the Bigfoot family in my area. Dogman family, this is what I got from my grandfather and what I've experienced myself. Well, especially when I was with Rascal and Lucy just walking them back. And this is where Lucy's I'm gonna say Dogman group she was with. They were at the caves. Well, I at the hill on top of the hill, and I was watching them. What I gathered is this: they had four to five dens. First three dens that were livable. First den was for the birthing and the birthing mothers and all that. Second two dens were living. Well, might as well say one of the dens is one for the single dog men and dog women or whatever, and the others were for the couples that were together. Now the last one, ooh, this is it's kind of offset. That's for the sick and the dying.
Okay.
And in the Dogman group, you have alpha male and alpha female. The alpha male, he more or less protects his territory and stuff. That's what Rascal did. Now Lucy, since she's a alpha female, she was the one that was taking care of the dens and all that. Now the elderly dogmen, male and female, that cannot hunt or breed, they are not driven away or killed. No, they stay and help the pups. They especially help the alpha female take care of the pups, clean out the dens, and everything else, and teach the younger dogmen, male and female both, how to hunt, how to fish, how to swim, climb trees, just about anything. Like they've got a purpose too, just like it's like they got to set things, set order things.
Organized.
Yeah, which really amazed me.
Yeah.
And I watched them for hours. Of course, when I fell asleep on that hill, was really funny. Rascal was laying there right beside me, and Lucy was laying up her back when, because I was leaning my head up against her and stuff, halfway sleeping. And I felt something on my leg. It was these pups that come up to me. Rascal was just grinning and his tail on the ground. I was going, oh gosh, here's the pups and where's the parents at? And there's the parents up there. Oh, I was going like, uh-oh. So I just let them, they all like check me out and all that. And then they went back down to what they were doing, you know? So I went, whew.
Yeah.
But I wasn't scared, as I was so much curious about them as they were about me. And of course, you had well, you had a much older juveniles, young adults. They were up there in the trees, as what? Watching.
Right.
They were like the guardians.
Mhm.
And now here's the thing about the Bigfoot, especially in our area. Ooh. Only the male, they get up to 20 to 30.
Okay. Years old.
Yeah, group
Mhm.
of
Mhm.
Bigfoot pod. Now only the alpha males are allowed to mate
Mhm.
with the females. Younger males, I guess they're not allowed to mate at all. If they try to with one of the other females, they're either driven off or killed.
So you've got some pretty you've got some clans there, Bigfoot clans
Mhm.
or types
Yeah,
that are much more territorial, maybe more
yeah,
mhm.
yeah. They're real highly territorial.
Yeah, yeah.
And they're old and stuff. Same with the males and females. They're either driven off or killed instantly. The same way with the female dogmen that they captured.
Mhm.
They're no longer able to breed, they're killed immediately. And they do this for meat and all that. And I'm starting to think, well, this is why you're not going to see any graves of Bigfoot.
Mhm.
Now, for the dogmen, I've seen what they do after their death den, what I call, for the
Mhm.
dead and dying after it's filled up and they're all gone. They'll stomp that thing in completely flat till you don't even know it's there anymore.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah,
So they don't bury, they just
yeah,
pulverize.
yeah. They pulverize it down, but they'll throw the dirt and everything in front of it where they can
Yeah.
flatten it down
Yeah.
completely.
Yeah. Okay.
Uh, I don't know much about the crawlers and how they breed. They breed during January. This is what my grandfather got to me, which we'll get to that a little bit later.
Mhm.
And they ran into him and his friend. I guess now I know he was still in the service at that time, and he was much younger. He said him and his friend out there in January. I said, was it in Kentucky? And he never would tell me where this was, where they ran into the crawlers. He says they ran into two of them mating.
Wow.
Yeah, and they got out of there real quick.
And what's the origin of the crawlers? Did he say anything about that? Your grandfather?
He says at the time they were up around Lake Superior, up around the Great Lakes,
Right.
just right outside. What was one of the major towns in Michigan? Where Lake Michigan, where there was, I can't explain it. It's where that bridge goes across to Canada. That
Um,
town,
okay. Yeah, that's the Great Lakes.
yeah. And I couldn't tell you what town that was because I
Mhm.
looked for it
Mhm.
online, couldn't see it because he described it to me.
Mhm.
He said they were outside town. They were doing some extra training on the baits.
Are they like lab created black projects, or do they
These
have an
crawlers, I
origin?
don't know. He says
Mhm.
they came upon them darn things, and he said they cocked back their 45s, but they didn't point it, and they just got the hell out of there.
Yeah, they're
And
apparently
they didn't report it to the base or nothing.
mhm. Mhm. Yeah, they're nasty, eh? Those white
Yeah,
crawlers.
they're real pale and nasty.
Yeah. Mhm.
It's like snakes. But
Yeah.
man, me, when their blood, when Rascal killed that one, and the blood curdlized that doggone sand, I knew something was wrong. And
Yeah.
my grandfather says, "You get back right now."
Mhm.
And he let Rascal throw that thing back into the river.
Yeah.
I looked at that, but not before I got to examine that thing.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Because it had a separate vascular system
Hmm.
that was surrounding all of its organs. And when I pressed its skin with that stick, it's like that poison came out almost like sweat.
Wow. Yeah.
And this is what
Anything else anatomically different?
it looked like it didn't. It was either asexual or something like that.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Didn't have genitals?
Not, not in a sense, but
No.
it had two or three holes where I would suspect the genitals was.
Oh, so they're inside and then they
Yeah,
come out. Okay.
yeah, well, I wasn't going to press and find out. No, hell no. I want to excuse my language, please.
All right, I'm gonna take my background off because I think it's gonna bother. I keep seeing my bun coming in and out, and I think it'll just
Yeah,
bug everybody. So I'm just
yeah.
gonna give everyone a break, and so they don't have to focus on that because it is
Okay. Yeah.
annoying. Okay.
I don't even notice it.
Yeah, no, I think people would because I notice it, and it's coming in
Oh,
and out,
okay.
in and out because the
Okay.
background doesn't work very well.
Yeah.
So yeah, sorry.
So now we're going to go into the winter hunts and incidents. Well, I've already actually gotten to one of. We're going to go to the December 1995 hunt. Before this is a pretty weird one.
Well, we like weird.
Oh yeah. Well, the day it was pretty dang dark. And it had a huge because we had a huge front coming in. And I could definitely smell the snow in the air. Me and Rascal, we headed on out where we usually do, and it's about 6 in the morning. We had bagged about 3 or 4 deer that morning. That was real quick, and I shot two, one shot apiece, one with the Mini 14 and one with the AK 47. That was like directly under, but I didn't want to use the Mini 14 in back of its head because I was scared that doggone bullet come back and hit one of us. So I used my dad's AK-47 and popped him
So,
in the back of the neck.
whoa, my poor dear.
Yeah,
I always have
well,
a hard time with
made it sure quick, so he just went thump,
yeah.
and
And you guys for
another
eat
two come down there, and Rascal jumped on both of them at once and went boom and took them down quick. And I ooh,
now are you guys hunting to eat? Like,
yep, we're
okay,
hunting feet.
okay. I just always have a hard time with
and
this.
and we were doing along real well and stuff. We cleaned them, dressed them, and everything else, and buried the guts and skins. All through today, I felt like we were being watched. I didn't
Mm,
know why.
hmm
Rascal's, I was watching Rascal's eyes. His eyes were yellow and green as usual. Nothing, but I just had that feeling that he started rubbing my shoulders, and I didn't feel that anymore. So it's like he's let me know everything's all right.
hmm
And I thought, well, maybe it's the other dog man or something. I don't know. Because we were
hmm
pretty high up in our doggone trees this time. We're usually about 30 foot, but this time we were 40 foot.
hmm
Because I
Well,
really,
usually that feeling is correct. When you're feeling
yeah,
that coming on,
yeah,
you are picking up on
yeah, yeah. Because I had my Mini 14 strapped along my back and I was cradling my AK 47. And that's when I unhinged my Mini 14, popped open that scope, and that's when I started feeling funny. And I slid the AK 47 back in the pouch on Rascal's back. He was watching me, so he started looking around, looking around. We didn't see much.
them.
So it's like, maybe it was one of the dog men just passing by. we'll just stay alert.
Right.
Now, we got back down out of the trees, went a circle around to get another deer. We didn't see it. So we came back and it started snowing. We were in the middle of the field, coming up to the truck that was sitting on the hill, sitting on the ridge actually. We started hearing crunch, 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 kind of far off about 200-300 yards in front of us, past the truck. I started looking. I didn't see anything. There was snow on the ground, everything else. Rascal's eyes immediately went red. I said, oh shit. Then all of a sudden, baby cries. I'm like, hell. I got the special jacketed ammunition out of the pouch of one of Rascal's pouches, switched ammo immediately. I jammed that 20 round clip. And then popped it off safety immediately. Turned on the scope. And that's when I heard the steps coming closer to us. Rascal flipped his razors out, and his claws are already out. He was right beside me. He wasn't going to leave my side. We got by behind that ridge immediately. I got out another clip, put it in my pocket, my shoulder pocket, immediately. Clipped it around to my 9mm that I still have. So what I did then after that fresh clip was I put the fresh clip in my pocket. Nothing happened after that. It got dead quiet. Even the air stopped. I started looking around, but Rascal was looking straight ahead. So I started looking where he was. I didn't see anything. I even looked up in the trees and I started scanning my rifle up in the trees with my scope, and I magnified my scope. Then we heard the baby sounds and we heard the steps coming towards us. So I aimed straight down at the ground where the snow was. I said, we're surely going to see some stuff now, because this thing was cloaked and everything else. And the footsteps stopped. We didn't see no footprints or nothing. I mean, absolutely nothing.
And the baby cry is because I find they do that to try and lure you so that you think
Yeah.
there's like an innocent child there. Yeah.
Yeah, in trouble. And we didn't see nothing. And there were absolutely no footprints. And I'm going like, what the hell? I said, Rascal, we're going to count to three. I'm going to count to three. We're going to get the daggone truck. We're going to get the hell out. Because we waited a good 30, 40 minutes to an hour. And then the wind started back up. When the wind started back up, we could hear everything again. I said, we're making our move now. Rascal checked the deer. The deer were all right. Packed away in our coolers and stuff. And I jumped in there. We got the hell out. When I got home, I told Grandpa about this. He said, what these things are demons. I said, we didn't see any footprints. He says, a lot of times you're not going to. because they'll do their footprints, but they'll be floating an inch to a quarter inch off the ground. I said, Grandpa, how do you know this? He says, because of the tests that him and his groups have done when he was in service, and they found these things through infrared. I said, Grandpa, when I turned my scope on and stuff, I couldn't see nothing. I said, I magnified it up to 40, the highest it would go. He said, that thing must have been cloaked in. He says, you should have gotten a heat signature. I says, Dad, we did. I said, Grandpa, we didn't get anything.
And what did they look like? Did he? I mean, you couldn't see it, but your grandfather knows.
I didn't see the damn things at all.
No, but your grandfather saw them.
Yeah, my grandfather saw them.
Did he say
they were reptilian-like? I said, reptilian-like? I said, like what, a predator or something? He said, well, a predator, like in the movies, would be close to these things, but it's something more than that.
So was it hunting you guys? Was it like?
I'm gonna think it was.
Yeah.
Because Rascal wasn't gonna move from my side, and I said, oh, here we go. Because I know if it gotten any closer, Rascal would have charged.
Yeah, for sure.
I mean, this is, man.
And it didn't follow you home.
No, it didn't follow us home, thank God.
Yeah.
I mean, this was in back of our last cornfield, the sweet cornfield, the really, really big one that was next to our big creek.
Yeah.
And the two ponds that were froze over. See, it was still in the woods. It didn't come up to the creek.
Yeah.
The creek is here. 500 yards back are the woods.
Yeah.
And this thing stayed in the woods, didn't come out. I mean, it was bad. I mean, that's something I never. Ooh. I mean, ugh. And when I started thinking about this, see, I don't even know where they come from. I don't know if they come from the underground or what. As far as I know, people say they come from the graves or huge holes that's still at the LBL from the water from underneath the lakes and all that. That would be my only thing. So I don't know if these things are a type of crawler or what. I'm gonna say they're not, because they got scales all over them.
Right.
So the difference on them. Next thing that I want to get into. This was just before December. This is like during the late fall of 1995. This is I'm going to call it the bouncing eyeball creature incident. Me and Rascal and I were on patrol up around Highway 70, which we shouldn't have been. But we was hearing weird stuff. Our neighbors told us they was hearing weird stuff on our property and stuff that was out there. And this was right around dusk. This was kind of weird. And so we got up one of the oak trees up along Highway 70. We're just sitting there waiting, see if anything would come out. We identify what it was and what was making these sounds. Well, I seen two headlights. What I thought was headlights coming around from Tylene around the type curve like this. I said, here comes a car. Well, that's strange. I don't hear the engine yet. I said, well, maybe it's just me. Maybe they turned the car off and it's coasting. Or I don't know. Well, then these lights, whatever it was, veered off. It went up a darn tree right across from the highway from us. And I noticed this was not headlights. This was some sort of creature that's about 2 or 3 foot tall, transparent arms, a transparent body. But the strange thing about that body was an orange and white eyeball in the middle of it. No mouth, no ears.
Mhm.
And the dang things, both these dang things went up the darn tree right up there, right next, almost next to me and Rascal. I said was right across from us. Rascal gave up. Rascal immediately gave a warning bark.
Mhm.
These things saw him. I don't know if they noticed him or something, but they saw him. Took off back down the tree and took off the way they came. We never saw him again. Well, I got home and I told Dad and Grandpa this. The very next morning, here's what they did. They went out there where we were, started spreading Epsom salt and holy water,
Good.
and said the Lord's Prayer. And we never saw those things again.
Yeah.
Until the things came up in our cornfield along the fence row. This time they saw us before we saw them, and they took off.
Interesting.
And yeah, they saw it, and they especially saw Rascal.
Mhm.
Rascal got in front of me in his defensive stance, and he pushed me back down. He pushed me down on the ground where he could guard over me, and he gave another warning bark to these things,
Mhm.
and they took off running.
Mhm.
So I'm thinking these things do not want to take on a Dogman for some reason, like the
Right.
deer spirits and something and
Mhm.
stuff.
Mhm.
And that was something.
Yep.
Now what I want to get into is when Rascal brought Lucy home. This is where it gets to be real fun. I had gotten home from work, hopped into the shower, and I took a shower with him because Rascal got home from I think a week away by himself to the LBL and with the other dog man and come back. Anyhow, I was sleeping and 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning, I fell asleep. Rascal with me, we was doing our usual sleep, and it's about 6, 7 in the morning. My grandfather comes trotting, comes into my room, and he says, "Well, who is this little cutie?" I'm going like, that woke me up immediately. I said, "Grandpa, what the hell are you talking about?" And I looked over at the window, and there's this little light brown tan nose sticking up out of the windowsill.
Mhm.
I walked over. I got up, halfway asleep, walked over there. I looked over, and there she was, this little 5'1" female dog man. You could tell she is female too, with the prettiest green eyes I have ever seen. She was light brown tan all over. Had long, feminine female fingers and stuff that I took to notice, and she had curved nails, curved claws, kind of like a clap, but they went in and out. They retracted and stuff like Rascals did. And she had long feet, long, narrow feet.
Same kind of dog man or a different species?
And she was a type 3 dog man,
Okay.
sort of a wide headed, real pretty fox like head or something. But my grandfather would rather kind of said her head was kind of like a pit bull too, but to me it was more like a fox because of her 40 pretty ears that were tapered, where they were really pointed up and tapered. It took her a couple of weeks, and when I looked over at Rascal, I says, "You got a girlfriend. Good boy." Whenever petted him, hugged him, and says, "She's got to be in with the family. You know that now." My grandfather went over and hugged him real tight, says, "Good boy, you did good." and Grandpa gave her the name of Lucy.
Mm-hmm.
Now, first we went out there to the lean-to. It was kind of like it wasn't a shed. It was more like I want to say open barn, but it wasn't. It's more like a stall.
Mm-hmm.
We was getting real clean bedding for her and all that. And pretty soon, she started living in the house with us, just like Rascal.
Mm-hmm.
When she really got to know us after the third or fourth week, and she connected immediately up with Grandpa and my sister,
Mm-hmm.
Teresa. I mean, she really bonded with Teresa. We're talking deep bond. And those two were mentally connected too, just like me and Rascal were. She's mentally connected to Grandpa. Well, now,
Now, is any of your family, like your sister Teresa or anybody, has anybody else come out and spoken about their experiences, or is it just you?
it's just me because my sister, my girlfriend, my mom, dad, and grandpa, which is my only family, they're not around no more. They're dead.
Oh, okay.
It's like my sister, my mom, my girlfriend, who was pregnant with her first child with little Sally. They died when the dump truck hit their car, SUV, at the
And
Tennessee Bridge and knocked them down the riverbank and killed them.
that's later after. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, that was 2001.
So then Lucy's bonded and she's living in the house with you and
Mm-hmm.
Rascal and the
Yeah,
family.
yeah.
Okay.
And what I want to get to this first incident, cryptids with Lucy. This, this is a real bad one. It was something else. This happened in 1996.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it was about 6:45 in the night. Uh, Lucy had been with us for about almost a year and a half, and she was in Teresa's room. They were both kind of sleeping, and all of us were getting ready for bed. And now I started dozing off when I heard Teresa scream. Now she was on her, I guess, her period or something. I guess these type 4 juveniles must have, smelled her or something. I don't know.
Dogman or
No,
oh
these were like Bigfoot.
oh Bigfoot. Okay.
Yeah. And I was just, all of a sudden I heard her scream. I shot up heading for her room immediately, and there was this uh juvenile Bigfoot right there at the window. But the only difference was Lucy had her hand on its throat. Because yeah, this thing had gotten too close to the door, gotten too close to the window, and
Wow.
here's Lucy grabbed it up by the throat. Because I heard Lucy sound off.
Mm-hmm.
And me and Rascal was there in a second, and everybody was there. And Lucy shoved that thing, and it hit the ground, it hit the backyard, it landed in the backyard with a boom, and there's two others there. When she went out that window, Rascal went out there with her, and a full fight started. And it didn't last over 2 minutes. Rascal killed them first two real quick because he had taken them by surprise. I don't think they, and here's the thing, I don't think they were prepared. I knew they smelled Rascal and Lucy, but I think what took them by surprise, because that Type 4 had a surprised look on its face
Mm-hmm.
when Lucy had his had her hand around his throat.
Yeah. Yeah.
And poor Lucy, ooh, when that thing landed on his back, she landed on top of him and she cut him to pieces.
And
Literally.
and so their intention, you think, was to
Grab Teresa.
yeah. And probably mate. I know some of
Yeah.
them like to, create hybrids or
Yeah. Well, these didn't get the chance to mate or rape or anything. As Rascal, when he jumped out, he slammed his claws through one of them's chest.
Yeah.
Ripped his chest out. And the other one tried to turn around and run.
Right.
Rascal grabbed him by the back of the head. And I don't know how he did this. He was so strong, he was able to twist its head around and flip it in the air and break its neck. And after that, me, Dad, and Grandpa, with that Lucy's Rascal's help, we took those three and we put them out in the burning pile, threw a bunch of brush and everything else on top of it. We got some of our firewood, a whole bunch of it, threw it on top of that with some motor oil. We burned them that night. But we were keeping watch too, because we were kind of worried if the rest of them would come out there.
Did you take pictures of the Sasquatch?
Nope.
No. Okay.
Nope. And that was kind of really, really, ooh, that was not good.
No.
And that's when me and Rascal started going on patrol again, but this time Lucy stayed behind, which was a good thing, which took a lot of worry off our minds. And I know it took a worry off Rascal's mind because it was Lucy there at the house. Wasn't no way these things were going to sneak around me and Rascal while we were on patrol and try to hit the house while we were out on patrol,
Did you hear that weird sound?
Yeah, that was Diane coughing.
Oh, okay. I was
Yeah.
like, that's good. I was like, where is that coming from?
Yeah, don't worry about it. Yeah. Next incident. This was in the late summer of 1998, where 10 cornfields were. This is with Lucy again. We were directly in back of our house. Now, we were picking sweet corn. He had brought his tractor out there. We were picking sweet corn all the way past us. Well, I was feeling real uneasy, like we were being watched. And Lucy and Rascal were both looking around. They're both of their eyes were all red, and they kept us close to that doggone close to Grandpa's tractor. Grandpa got into the cabin of his tractor and turned on the lights and positioned the tractor right at the woods. Lucy and Rascal started making these defensive circles all the way around us. When they came back, we didn't see no eye shine or nothing. But again, we was hearing guttural, weird sounds. Then it switched to baby sounds. Then it switched back to guttural sounds again. And now I was thinking, okay, we know there's Bigfoot out here. But what else is out here with them? We didn't see nothing. But it was far, far back in the woods. And I'm thinking they knew Lucy and Rascal around. So they whatever it was, wasn't coming near us. None of us. So when we got home, for all of our sweet corn, I mean, we had huge bushels of it. It's gonna make all right. This is gonna be good, you know. So we roasted some corn and all that before we went to sleep, but we really didn't get any sleep, much sleep at all that night. And even though the night was totally quiet, I'm just thank God nothing happened.
Mhm.
Then comes to a strange hunt with me, Rascal, and Lucy. Oh boy, this is gonna be fun. We were in our usual place. And it had snowed a little bit, then stopped, then snowed again. We'd already got a couple of deer, me and Rascal did.
Mhm.
Mama Rosie, Teresa, and Amanda came up in the truck with Lucy because Lucy had ran a couple of deer to us. We got them too.
Mhm.
And so the good thing about that is I was able to dress them deer out real quick with Lucy and Rascal's help. Then when because we were getting ready for some sort of family celebration or something. So I'm going like, yeah, we're gonna do it up good because they had a couple of hams and everything else. And I'm thinking this is right around Christmas. I'm not certain, about 2 or 3 days before Christmas. So anyhow, we got them. We threw the deer in the back of the grandpa's truck. And so Lucy went home with them. Me and Rascal didn't think nothing about that. Okay, fine. And we got up there, it started snowing again, and I fell asleep in Rascal's arms. Suddenly I hear a crunch, 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 crunch. What is that? Is someone come back? And all of a sudden, Rascal slams me bait up against the doggone tree where we're about 40 foot up. And I'm like, what the hell, Rascal? And I look down, I'll be dang if there wasn't this black faced, silver looking gogway coming up there to us. I'm like, what? This thing was about 7 foot tall, black and red eyes.
Mhm.
The top of his eyes was black, but the bottom of his eyes was red with a yellow pupils.
And what was it?
It was a gogway. What I call a Bigfoot that's been so far down the line, inbred so far down the line,
Okay.
that type. And basically an inbred Bigfoot is what I call it.
Okay.
And it was coming up there to us, climbing up our tree. Rascal reached down there. He starts face punching this damn thing. Boom, 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 boom. Oh, and they got down to the bottom base of the tree. Wait, when Rascal he caved his face in with his fist, with his claws and his razors, killed it instantly. I heard a yelp. He had dislocated his shoulder when they both hit the ground.
Okay.
I got down there real quick to him, and I can tell you this much: I got scared as hell for him. And when I got him home, that Grandpa and all them already fixed up the deer and everything. And I said, "You all get here real quick right now. Rascal's hurt." They said, "What?" I said, "Yeah, we got into a fight with a gargoyle." I said, "It had climbed up our tree."
Wow.
Well, Mama Rosie and especially Amanda and Teresa got to him since they were veterinarians. They worked at veterinarian's office. They started fixing him up right away, popped him with Novocaine and everything else, and started checking his shoulder, checking his hand, checking his claws and everything, make sure they weren't chipped. And Grandpa took his razors off, started cleaning the razors and everything. And we went back out there. This time, Lucy came with us.
Mhm.
Well, We went out there where our usual spot is. We didn't see that Gugway's body. Grandpa says, "Look, someone's dragged it off." I said, "Oh hell!"
Hmm.
So Lucy took the lead, and we followed that thing. We followed the drag marks all the way down to Cumberland River, which led straight to the LBL. And Grandpa stopped us. And he whistled. Lucy turned around and came back to me and says, "Okay, guys, this is as far as we're getting. We're not going any further.
Mm-hmm.
Get back to the house."
Yeah.
That's what we did. Apparently
Good.
this thing had some friends there with it, with Rascal being hurt, because Rascal wanted to come back with us.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Rascal was Abnett and
Yeah.
Mama Rosie and Amanda and Teresa shouted at him and says, "No, you're not going. You're hurt.
Mhm.
They'll be all right with Lucy. You just stay here."
Yeah.
He didn't like it, but he stayed. We came back about an hour later. Randall says, "Honey, what'd you find?" I says, "We didn't find nothing. We found out where it was dragged off." I said, "How many friends this damn thing have?" I says, "I don't know. By the feet marks, it looked like two of them.
Mm-hmm.
So they must have took this thing back to eat it."
Mm-hmm. Mm.
Now we had a great Christmas after that. I mean, man, that's one of those strange things I'm not gonna forget. And that's why my PTSD pops up so many times.
Yeah, I can imagine that's a lot of trauma.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um,
Okay. Next thing I want to get into is the believe it or not, the differences between Dogman clan and Bigfoot clan, especially in our area. First, I want to get into would be different types of hunting. I'm going to start out with Bigfoot. Now, Bigfoot, they're more or less opportunist hunters, and they're like more or less scavengers. It's like if they'll go after if they see pets, livestock, or even people that are unaware, like children and all that, like jogging or something. To them, that's an easy meal.
in your area.
Yep. If they will get them if they can. I mean, to Bigfoot, it's an easy meal. They'll even go through garbage bins. I've seen them do that several times.
Do
I've seen them, and I've seen them. We have trash barrels outside, burn barrels, and all that. If there's
Mhm.
any food that was burnt there, they'll get into that.
Do you know if there's any accounts of people that have been attacked by them in your area or killed?
No, they've been in 60s and 70s. There's been attacks, but everyone's saying the beast of the LBL that was done by a hybrid dog man, not
Okay,
a real dog man.
right.
This happened in 1994, a year before I got Rascal. Now we have been going through a severe drought. Once every 7 years, West Kentucky, Southern Illinois, Southeastern Missouri, and Western Tennessee will always go through a damn drought. Always. Out of 15 years I had Rascal, we went through two droughts. So that was pretty. So you see, that's a controlling factor right there.
Yeah.
Because you got Dogman and all these other cryptids looking for water and food.
Mhm.
Now, when this family got there, at that camping area, it was one of the deepest camping areas because they had showers and everything else there.
Now, is this the event of the husband and the wife with their son
Yep, and the daughter.
and a daughter, and they were in a mobile,
Yeah,
uh,
they were
what do you
in
call mobile
RV
camper? Yeah.
camper. Yeah.
Okay.
Now I've seen the pictures of these, and they weren't. Woo, they were kind of graphic.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
They were horrible. Dad showed them to me because his unit had to do the cleanup.
Uh-huh.
He says the husband and wife were both wearing perfume, which was another no. But hey, they didn't know. And this hybrid dog man, he was about 9 foot. He was about as tall as Rascal. The female that they caught at the den was 10 foot. And the military had to destroy both of them.
And it was them that attacked this family.
No, it was the male that attacked that family.
Okay. But they destroyed the female as well.
Yeah. Because I found out it was pregnant.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
And what happened was when this is why even my family was kind of, even though Trace and them did put on perfume, they were kind of careful with Rascal about it.
What is it about perfume though that
It's the pheromones in the perfume that'll set a Dogman off, because Rascal will kind of act funny.
like how?
Like kind of a little bit amorous.
Okay.
I don't want to say the H word, but
Yeah,
Like,
right. Okay.
uh-huh.
And maybe explain what happened with this incident, because I don't know if a lot of people know.
When this thing went up, the man was trying to, secure the camper down. It grabbed him in the back of the head, twisted his head clean off, killed him instantly. The boy tried to run into the house. It got a hold of him, pulled him out, and shredded him real quick.
Into
When
the
it
camper.
got with the thing, when the thing pulled the door off, the hinges, they said the mother fought this thing for about 20, 30 seconds for all her life. Little girl went back at the camper, closed the door of the bedroom, and hid under the bed. Well, that didn't help because it found her and grabbed her. Yeah. After it killed the mother, blood was everywhere, all inside the camper as the mother's blood. It had ripped her apart. They were all, so at night, they were in that one family that came up on them, took off back to Grand Rivers, called the sheriff.
Yeah, because didn't they just park in the LBO, like, because they were camping?
Yeah.
And they just pulled off overnight? Was that the plan?
Well, see, this was at Quail's Point.
Okay.
No one knew the name of this. It was at Quail's Point.
Yeah.
And this, of course, Jack, our cousin, who was the sheriff at the time, he went up there with 2 deputies. They've never seen anything like this. And the 2 state troopers already there. The state trooper went down the hill, find the little girl. When he went under the tree, blood dripped down off his hat onto his arms. He looked up, and all they could hear was a blood-curdling scream. This was at 11:30 at night. 1 o'clock in the morning, my dad got a call from his commanding officer. He says, I'm not going to say Dad's name is. And he says, we got to go right now. We got your team armed up, ready. You got to go now. This is a class 1 order. My dad got on his uniform, his combat uniform on, picked up his M1 carbine, and off he went. Didn't come back until 7 o'clock in the morning. They cleaned it up. They found the little girl, what was left of her.
Who was up on the tree?
The little girl. She was half eaten.
And so why do you think this hybrid dog man did that? What was
it was not just the drought. But the major factor was both parents were wearing perfume.
So, but I mean, he went into a terrorizing killing spree. So
Yeah, that's because most of it was the perfume. That's what my dad said when they did the test and all that, when they cleared local officials. See, Dad at the time was in the military.
So he wouldn't want to, like, I know this sounds really weird, but I would think because of the perfume, he would want to mate and not go on a killing spree.
Yes, but when he saw the male, he knows he's not gonna mate with the male, so he's gonna kill that male. See where I'm getting at? We're gonna try to get rid of the male, so when the female's around, hey, he's got no competition. See where I'm getting at?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
But when she started fighting him, he took that as a rejection, and guess what?
Yeah, and they covered that up, eh? The media, just completely.
Yeah, that team covered that up quick. They put the door back on the camper, cleaned it up real quick, told the local and state authorities to get out of there. You don't patrol this no more. We do. So when Dad come home, this is the first time one of the first times I've ever said this. That's why I've kept quiet for so long. I mean, there was some major factors that went into the beats of the LBL. I mean, everybody's going to hear a lot of stuff, but the pictures from mine saying, I know what went on.
Yeah. There was a boy in Ontario actually just recently that got attacked by a dog man, and Canada in the media and the newspapers wrote that it was a dog-like creature.
Well, it's like this. Some dog men are good, some are evil.
Yeah.
I mean, I was scared a dog man for my life until I got Rascal, and when I got Rascal, that changed. That's why I get emotional, and I love him so much.
Yeah, right.
I don't think a dog man will ever harm me because of Rascal, because of my experiences.
Yeah.
And that goes for my family now too. It's like, it's just it started off better. That's the way I see it.
Right.
And
so what was the conclusion of that horrendous?
They said it was a bear attack.
Yeah.
We've got no bears in the LBO at all. None. Yeah, you're not gonna tell me that was a bear.
No.
Bear is not gonna drag its prey up in a tree. A Bigfoot will now. I mean, what I want to really get into about this, the hunting differences between Bigfoot and Dogman, especially around here. Well, for the Dogman now, the way they hunt's way different. And this is why I love the way Rascal always hunts, because they're ambush hunters through and through. They use the trees to hunt. They use the trees. Now Lucy's gonna be a little bit different because she likes hitting them on the ground and chasing them back to us. So that's a lot of fun. But most of their prey is usually deer, elk, and caribou. And usually others like fish and all that too. Because they forage for roots, they fish. And to me, dogmen are way better than most arrow hunters. I mean, a Bigfoot, if he can catch your scent, you're done for. But if he can't, you can pretty well hide from him.
Mm-hmm.
You can get away from him as fast as you can.
In your area. I think
Yeah.
they're rogue. These clans that are there, I think they're like the rogue Bigfoot clans that have been probably exiled from the other clans because of the fact that they're rogue and
Yeah.
you know, they
Yeah.
are.
Communications, Bigfoot around here, like any other Bigfoot, they'll communicate with howls, tree knocks, and rock banging.
Mhm.
Dogman, here's the thing about Dogman. They use infrasound and telepathy, the telepathic.
Sasquatch use infrasound as well, though, Robert.
Yeah, but they use their infrasound as part of their hunting to freeze their prey before they attack.
Yeah. Or to like scare you off.
Yeah,
Mhm.
that was fascinating me because Rascal and Lucy, they'll be in separate rooms and they'll communicate with each other with their infrasound
Mhm. Mhm.
because I could tell it. That
Mhm.
was always fun to watch them.
So how can you tell what would you feel when they would use infrasound?
I would feel like the hair on my neck stand up a little bit.
Mhm.
My ears would ring just a little bit, that it'd stop.
Mhm.
I'd hear a humming a
Mhm.
little bit, but
Mhm.
not enough to, make me sick or anything. And I
Right.
know what they were doing.
Mhm.
Now, caring for the clan, it's like the male Bigfoots always leave the females to their own devices on caring for the clan. Now, Dogman kind of just a little bit different because they have their family units, like I've already explained, are highly organized. Each unit has each one's or each age group has a set thing to do, which I think is kind of cool. It's kind of like us, anyhow.
Mhm.
I feel like because that was always interesting to me. I mean, other Bigfoot clans might do that, but the ones around here is like,
Mhm. Mhm.
because you want to talk about scary monsters, though? Yeah, they would be just like the goatmen
Mhm.
and the crawlers, which are solitary creatures. I've noticed.
Right. Yeah.
Next thing I want to get into is the LBO incidents of Lucy and Rascal. The first LBO incident with Rascal and Lucy, this came in 1997 during gun season. Deer. It was about 5 o'clock in the morning with thick fog rolling in, right off the canals and stuff. So me and Dad and Grandpa, we're in a circle formation on the ground. Lucy, we were on the Kentucky side, close to canals at the time. Lucy and Rascal were ranging out, bringing the deer close to us. I got a 250-pound doe, which was huge. Dad and Grandpa each got a doe, and Lucy got a 500-pound 8-point buck. He was running, and she came up behind him, cut his legs out from under him, and got him. Rascal wrapped around, snapped his neck. We got those two. Now, when we cleaned these deer, put them in both our trucks, we laid down for the rest of the day in our tent. Lucy laid down next to Grandpa. Rascal laid down next to me and Dad. We had 3 or 4 fires going as usual, and it was getting close to where it was going to snow because we were smelling snow in the air. I said, "Oh boy, here it comes." And we kept, later on, late in the day when it got real dark, we kept hearing crunch, crunch, crunch. This is dry leaves and stuff. It hadn't even started snowing yet. We're going like, what the heck's going on? All of a sudden, our doggone tent door zips open. This huge 7-foot Bigfoot, black, cold black eyes and all that. And it was showing its glaring its teeth and everything because we knew it smelled Lucy and Rascal. It poked its head in there, and that was the wrong thing to do. Lucy and Rascal jumped his butt, shoved him out of that darn tent, and fight. There must have been 2 or 3 Bigfoot out there because Lucy and Rascal were whipping the hell out of these things. You could hear the war howls. You could hear then you could hear the screams because when Bigfoot started getting hurt, they were screaming like women would scream, high pitched squeal. We got out there. 2 of the Bigfoot had gotten seriously hurt. The third one wound up getting killed. Rascal and Lucy killed it. That was the leader. Well, Lucy and Rascal came back to us. Rascal had some claw marks on his left shoulder, and Lucy had a nasty bite on her side. So we took them home. And stuff and got our deer. We got them home. And Teresa and Amanda doctored both of them up, gave them shots. And that night, Rosie and Teresa and Amanda cooked us a nice, big, excellent meal. All of us ate good. And then snow began to fall. I'm going like, at least we're not out there, you know. Second incident. This is in the middle of June now. We were on a 2-day fishing trip for catfish. On the first day, me, Dad, and Grandpa, we caught about big old 5 or 6 tubs of blue cat and channel cat. And with Rascal's help, because he was going out there he's wading out there in a canal with his claws, stabbing 20, 30, 40-pound catfish. We're talking about the smallest ones he got nabbed were this long, and they were huge. And we were just having a blast. Now, when we cleaned the fish and everything, put them in the ice containers, we settled down, in the chairs and stuff, just relaxing. We kept hearing rocks and things being thrown in water. Rascal and Lucy, they were laying there beside us, and they heard the rocks, and they went up there. All of a sudden, they both gave warning barks. Well, across the canal and in the Tennessee River was these 2 young juveniles throwing rocks at us. We heard something behind us, and it gave a grunt. We turn around, and there's this huge 7-foot female, type 4 Bigfoot behind us.
And what's a type 4?
Type 4 is like the ape.
Okay.
The chimpanzee face type Bigfoot. And she looked at, and while Rascal took off after those 2 faced off against those 2 juvenile, Lucy immediately faced off against this female that was directly walked up behind us. I said, "Oh God." And this thing, I don't know what this female Bigfoot did, started this daggum samurai jabber, or whatever it was, right at Lucy. I don't know. And Lucy's eyes went red immediately. And she backhanded this female Bigfoot so hard it lifted it. She hit it so hard, its feet lifted off the ground that high up, and her head bounced off that tree, and she slid down the tree.
What's samurai chatter?
Like, well, I can't explain it, but if you go on YouTube about these hunters, about 64, 65, and they were making sounds at these Bigfoot, and these Bigfoot were making a chatter.
Okay.
And if you go back to them, that's what the samurai chatter sounded like.
Oh, okay.
And anyhow, this thing did a samurai chatter to Lucy. I don't know what it told Lucy or what it said to Lucy. Lucy bared her teeth and backhanded this thing like smack really, really hard, right up under that damn thing's chin right there. And it lifted it up. I swear, she hit it so hard, lifted it up. That's how strong Lucy is. Lifted it up about like that. And its head bashed up against a tree and it slid down. When it slid down, Lucy started stomping its face in. I mean, stomping. She killed it. She took her claws and cut its throat, then stomped its face in some more. And while all of this is going on, Lucy and Rascal chased off those juveniles. Then he came back. I don't know where the male was. None of us knew where this male was, and why wasn't it around to protect its family? Well, its family is doing this. I don't know.
Do you think that she was there to attack you guys? Was this like?
I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know, but it didn't get the chance to. I can tell you that much.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, were the juveniles her children?
I'm going to say, imagine so.
Mm.
But Rascal chased them off.
Mm-hmm.
Then he came back.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I mean, and Grandpa was going like, why would these damn family of Bigfoot go around us? And we got two dogmen with us,
Mm-hmm.
especially one as big as Rascal was. He said, that'd be oxymoronic and foolish.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And and Dad says, where was the male at the time that's supposed to have been there?
Yeah.
I mean, that was where we took our fishing. We went home.
Yeah.
I mean, that was
I
just
mean, it sounds like Lucy felt that there was something threatening. Why would she have done
yeah.
that otherwise?
Yeah. Well, for one thing, she was going to do it anyhow because it was way too close to us.
Mm-hmm.
Because it was no more than 30, 40 foot away from us.
Mm-hmm. Right. Wow.
Third incident, this happened on the edge of my family's homestead right at the Cumberland River. This is where Rascal and I was fishing for bass and catfish. We was minding our own business. This is in the fall. And Lucy was home with the family and stuff, so it was just me and Rascal out fishing. And once it started getting real hot out there, about 80, 90 degrees. And all of a sudden, Rascal turned around and gave a warning bark. All of a sudden, there's this 5-foot crawler come flying out at us. I mean, Rascal went at this rake, and he cut it in half with his razors. And I didn't know what was going on. The strange thing about this crawler, after I went over and examined it after a kid, it had gills on its back and not on the side of its neck. I'm like, ooh, what is this? And then it had a dorsal fin that went down its back, which was different. And it had scales all over. This is really weird.
What color was it?
Silver scales.
And so its body was a silver.
Yeah.
So it must have come from the water.
Yeah, it came from water.
Mm-hmm.
Then we went back there and
wow.
And its teeth and everything was just same as the others, and all that venom sacs and everything. And I went over to dad and grandpa, and I said, guys, what is going on here with these things? He says they must have been. He says, be careful of the river because they're probably swimming the river, migrating. I said, oh, great. I mean, after that, we had a great fish fry and all that, but ooh. I mean, this was something else.
Mhm.
Fourth incident. This is when this was kind of bad. This is our last incident with the crawlers. This was in the LDL. We were on the Cumberland River side instead of the Tennessee side. Me and Grandpa, we were just finished loading up the catfish and everything. Rascal was laying down beside us. We heard a real loud hiss coming from the bushes. This 6.5 foot break crawler came flying out at us. Rascal immediately got up and he charged at it.
And this is a different kind, not like the silver one.
Yeah,
This
this
is
different kind. It was like the very first one we took.
so the
Ron flipped out his arm, going to hit
is
this
it
thing. The fact what this thing did bit him on the arm.
is this the white kind? The white
Yes.
crawlers, the hairless?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. And Rascal immediately went into a rage, stabbed this thing 8 times in the throat, head, and chest with his claws, killing it instantly. Now Rascal limped over to us, and I saw the horrible bite mark and blood mark on his arm.
Hmm.
Me and Grandpa got the fish in the truck immediately and got him to lay in the back of the truck, and we got home as fast as we could. We doing 90 to 110 miles an hour to get him home. Lucy was there. When she saw how bad Rascal was, she started going nuts. Grandpa put his arm around Lucy. He says, "Baby, don't worry, they'll take care of me." Amanda and Teresa started working on him immediately, giving him antibiotics. And they even went to the veterinarian's office and got some of that specialized stuff and started working on him. Well, after 2 or 3 days, the bite was fully healed and all that, but I don't think Rascal's the same after that. I think this may have taken down some of his, immunity.
Yeah, so it was a poison.
Yeah,
Okay. Like a poison that, yeah,
yeah,
is very
yeah,
hard. Like antibiotics won't work.
yeah.
Yeah.
And during the year, I guess, I don't know, 1999, he was okay.
Hmm.
Then we gotta go to his death in the year 2000.
So you gave him antibiotics, you stitched him up, you
Yeah,
you did what you could,
yeah,
but the poison was working in his body.
yeah, real slow.
Yeah. Okay.
Then the parvo incident came up, and this is during first 2 weeks in November. He died on November 17th, year 2000. He had been getting sick on and off. He wasn't himself really. Now notice Lucy is staying closer to him and into us.
So he started getting weaker.
Yeah.
Okay.
Then that week, from 11th to the 17th, he was losing weight tremendously. At first, he's 650 pounds. When it all ended, he's only 243 pounds. He was messing himself. He couldn't help it and stuff. Couldn't take water, couldn't take food because he was throwing up.
So the poison somehow activated
But
the
it had,
parvo?
oh, yeah, it must have. Because the poison was already gone.
And the parvo, like the injections for the parvo wasn't helping him. No.
Oh, yeah. They were trying to keep fluid in him and all that, but the parvo was too powerful. It took him.
Oh. So he fought for what, a year after the attack to stay
Yeah.
alive. And he was 15?
We were, yeah, he was still young, but we were trying to help him so bad.
And what would be the normal lifespan for him if
60 years, 40 to 45. I'm thinking the longest from what I've heard is 60 years, but the usual is 45.
right. Oh man.
And I kept praying to God. Saying, please don't go, please don't go. Rascal raised his head up, looked me in the face and kissed me, said he loved me.
Hmm.
Then he laid his head down, he died. Dad and Grandpa, when they buried him out back, planted a tree, an oak tree on top of him. For I sent you the picture.
Yeah, let me just put it up here.
Yeah,
Hang
in
on.
Rascal's picture, which is his training picture, and he's actually grinning because he was having fun.
Let me just see if I can share screen
Yeah,
and have this okay. I've got the 3 pictures up here. So, oh, that's not it.
yeah, that's it. Now I'm going to show you. This is you can see how huge his burial plot is. Now move your cursor directly in the middle, a little bit lower to that tree. I'm going to show you right here. Okay, right there. Stop. That's where he's buried. Now, if you were to put like a metal detector
Mm-hmm.
around,
Yep.
you would get a signal from his razors. Now, what's buried with him is both sets of razors, a basketball, a deflated basketball, and a deflated football that's buried with him, and his favorite jacket, hunting jacket. Now, I got the other hunting jacket put away in storage. That probably still has some of his hair on there, but he'd probably be corrupted by now and stuff.
Yeah. Yeah.
Now, show his picture that I gave you of him because
Mm-hmm.
he's laying down in the grass grinning because
Oh,
Grandpa, this is part of his training now because he was fixing to go into his cloaking thing, his
right.
cloaking, and they were getting him to cloak and all that. He was just having fun. It was like hide and seek for him.
Right. So this one that you sent me,
Mm-hmm.
I think came from a video
Yeah.
that that you did. So let me just
It wasn't a video, it was that probably a Polaroid picture.
No, this was from a video that you did. it's on that video. That's what you sent me. Dogman kills 4 Bigfoot interview.
That was one of the, but that picture was him. That was during one of his training pictures.
Okay. So here, you just share screen again.
Yeah, that's him.
Mm-hmm.
That's him.
Right.
Rascal.
So is this the only picture that you have of?
That's the only one I had.
Right. Okay. Just so everyone can see. Yeah.
Because I know everybody's saying, well, where's the pictures of Rascal? That's the only one.
Now, has this picture been in various areas? Because I've
Yeah.
seen it
Yeah.
in a
When I seen it, when I first seen it to John Bell,
and I've seen it in a
And-
documentary done of Dogman from somebody in the US.
So his picture's been around.
Yeah.
I mean, a lot of it without my permission, but you know.
Right.
Says, where's Rascal at? Well, that's him.
Are there any more pictures that you have but you won't release?
I'm thinking there may be a few more, but they're still in storage. The others I've lost through a fire.
Okay. If you find the ones that are in storage.
Yeah. And I'm hoping they're still there. And I know that jacket is still there.
If they are still there, maybe we could just.
And I'd like to send you a picture of my truck that I had that time. Well, it was so huge. Is that
right? Now, did Rascal come in and communicate to you after he died in dream?
Several times, yeah.
Yeah. And what happened there? And what happened to Lucy?
He always let me know that everything's all right. When it's my time to come, he was going to come and get me.
Oh. So what happened with Lucy and their babies?
He stayed with me because when I was at Rascal's grave, I passed out from grief. And she was with me. But when I woke up a couple of hours later, I was in bed. Dad told me she picked me up and carried me back inside.
And what happened to all their little pups?
They were half grown, and she took them to her and Rascal's Dogman clan that they were friendly with.
Right.
And now the pups are full grown Dogmen, and they kind of keep real close tabs on the family homestead. Or not. In fact, they're living on the family homestead.
And who's living there now?
My cousin and his wife.
And do they have encounters?
Yeah, they had encounters with Lucy because Lucy would come up to him and play with the little girl. Her name is Sally. And the boy's name was Jasper. So Lucy and the pups would play with them and stay close to them. Of course, little Sally one day went down the basement and found Lucy. She thought was sleeping, but no, Lucy passed away because she was old.
Wow, how old was she?
24, 25. Well, she was actually older than that. So I'm getting close to the age because when I was on my way back from paying the van insurance, I saw an older dog man going across our field from the house. And I stopped, and I don't know why I did. And I called out Lucy by accident. Dog man turned around, and my God, it was Lucy.
And when was that?
2 years ago.
So
he came up to me, licked me, and told me everything was okay.
And what year was
So
it that?
I opened up the van door because I just bought the van,
Mhm.
and I held her. She
And then
drove away.
and then she died after that in the basement?
Yeah, a couple of months after.
So what year was it that you got Rascal?
1995,
And what
March
year
15th.
did Lucy come in?
Lucy came in at 1995. 19, okay, I got Rascal 1985, March the 15th. Got Lucy. Lucy came into our lives in 1995
And five.
during
Okay.
the spring.
Okay. So she was actually quite young. She's around what, 27 when she died?
No, she was way older. In fact, she was older than Rascal.
Okay.
Has
Oh,
connected up to her. I'm
okay.
gonna say she was 10 to 15 years older than he was,
Mhm. Oh, wow. Okay.
which was kind of strange, but
Mm-hmm.
they connected, and I'm glad of it.
Yeah, yeah. And then, wow, that was that. So now the pups
Yeah,
are adults and you don't really have any communication with
yeah,
them?
they're adults now. And not much, no.
Oh, mhm.
But I know if I went out there, I could connect up with them again because they do know me
Yeah.
and they do know the van. So,
Mm-hmm. Is that something you want to do is connect with them? Or
yes or no?
mm,
Because since I'm 61 and stuff, I'm not as young and everything, and
mhm.
I don't go out there near the woods like I used to.
Right.
So, for me,
Yeah. Yeah.
thing I want to get into next is the telepathic communication between me and Rascal.
Mm-hmm.
The things I've asked him. I mean, to me, now this came to me in a dream state. And then later with just our eyes meeting. Here's some of the questions I asked Rascal. And I'm going first thing I asked Rascal is where did your people come from and where are they? Rascal turned around and told me his kind came from the Great Garden from the time when the first time began. He said they lived in peace and harmony with all life, including us. He said before the fallen ones came and a great cleansing water, which drove them to a jungle underworld, which most of where their kind is at now.
Can you repeat that last part that you just said?
Uh, they Noah's flood drove them underground to a jungle underworld.
Oh, okay. All right. In the earth.
Yeah, to me, this meant his people lived side by side, Adam and Eve, in the Garden of Eden, and they were driven to the second earth during Noah's flood. And I asked him a second question. I asked him, I said, what do you call yourselves and your thoughts about humans? Rascal told me his people are called Lyrica, or spiritual canine people of the night, who just wanted to live peacefully and live alone with nature. He said, Rascal also told me his people do fear us for the most part because of our advanced technology and our weapons.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
He said, but they hold a bond to many of the people around, like bond to me, because the bond they once had with the human race.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Yeah, I asked him what does his kind think of Bigfoot and other cryptids. Rascal, for the most part, said the most part his kind actually hates 90% of all cryptids,
Mm.
especially Bigfoot, because they are they're products of the Nephilim, and they are part of the Nephilim. He said, he said the Nephilim and the demons want to control and destroy this world. He said a few of his kind do realize that some of the Bigfoot do live peacefully with his kind, but they don't. They said, well, then they accept that, but they do keep a close eye out on him at all times.
I think the amount of clans, Bigfoot clans that are rogue are so few and far between compared to I think the majority of the clans. And I think I don't know if a determining factor also is if there's no food around, or if you think of Russia and you think of the winters and the lack of, I don't know, right? If that is a determining factor to create rogue behavior, but I think I just don't think the majority are bad. I think
I'm more close to a line for both cultures are kind of like 50-50, but to me, this has to deal with the situation, the environment, and the area where you live. I mean, some are good, some are evil. Look, the
like
Bible,
people.
See, like people, the Bible explains this. There's good and evil everywhere. Period. The end. I asked about his people's culture. Rascal told me his people's culture is a nature spirit bond with a small family unit culture living in harmony with nature in a light bound spiritual energy type deal. He says each individual Dogman has him and her own spiritual energy soul, much like we do. He says, but they want to stay away from everyone to live in their own world in peace. I asked him, why do some turn bad? Rascal was highly direct on this. He said it is because of greed, hate, envy, and bad energy in this world that right along with the taste of blood changes everything, which is different from honey. He said once his kind becomes evil or rogue, they're given one chance to change, to turn back to good. He says if they don't, he says they're eliminated immediately. And so me and Rascal, we stayed telepathically connected dang near 90% of the time. I mean, it made us a better hunting team and best friends ever. I mean, we were able to go on patrols pretty much a whole lot better. I mean, Rascal even shared a telepathic mom with Dad and Grandpa. And Teresa from time to time. Because he carried a fatherly bond with Grandpa and Dad, but he carried a motherly bond with Teresa, Amanda, and Mama Rosie. I mean, he just carried that much with him.
So how in your mind, I mean, because they have to share basically the same environment together, the Sasquatch and the Dogman and the other cryptids. You're talking about everybody kind of sharing forests and whatnot. So is it pretty much established that they each have their area and they keep to it?
when you talk around LBL at the time when Rascal was alive, it was more or less a higher competition between the sides, and basically, I'm going to say a competition war.
Now, do you think that, to me, it appears that a lot more cryptids are coming out now more than ever?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I see that's because we're coming up on the end times.
Yeah.
And what I want to get up to next is what my grandfather knew about these. What my dad and my grandfather knew about these cryptids. We can go to my grandfather first because that's going to be probably the most. The Bigfoot clan, what my grandfather told me, is nothing like the Dogman clan at all. He said they mostly reside in caves or in holes that they dig into riverbanks, or in some cases abandoned cabins and houses. Bigfoot will. He says the Bigfoot can get up to 20 to 30 members. But I've heard they got up to maybe 50 members up there in Alaska, which, you know, since Alaska is mostly wilderness, yeah, it would make sense. They don't have many, let's say, competition. And bigger the clan territory, my grandfather says, the bigger the clan, the more territory they have to subsist.
Right.
Like my grandfather said, only the alpha males are allowed to mate with all the females. But they allow, with the exception of a captured female dogman, that's when the juvenile Bigfoot can take turns mating with it to renew their bloodline or whatever, keep that going.
Well, and create a hybrid?
Yeah. Some Bigfoot clan will have hybrids in it, like many of the rogue around here, which kind of worries everybody. And I don't blame them. I get worried too. I'm just glad they haven't come up here in the town where I live at yet. Because we're not, by traveling, we're not that far away from the LBL. I mean, this town's got 72,000 people in it. Heaven help if these cryptids started coming in here.
Yeah.
Because I was asked.
Well, I think eventually they will. Eventually they are going to encroach.
Yeah. And one of my cousins, who's a police officer, said, Robert, if they come in here, says, how many trained dogmen like Rascal and Lucy would be needed to protect this town? I said, number one, not enough. And I'm dead serious. Because there'd be too many areas that they can get through. Get in this town. They can follow the train tracks, they can follow the river, they can follow like drainage ditches real easy.
Why do you think the military let you have Rascal and Lucy?
I have no idea. I guess I don't want to say they were just curious, want to know stuff. Like, can a dog man, and I guess in his mate too, live peacefully with people? Are they that intelligence with human intelligence? I'm going to have to say yes. I mean,
so you think they let you have them?
You know, and later on, yeah, I did. Because I couldn't figure out why they let Dad and his best friend leave Rascal off base. Rascal was badly sick because they didn't think he was going to live, but still, when they found out he was going to live, things changed.
And your dad could only get him away, or like, why not try and get the whole litter?
That would cause too much, you know, attention to him and his best friend.
Right. Okay. Yeah. Wow. So the military projects basically have a lot of dogmen and are
Yeah,
creating their own hybrids, and
yeah,
they're murdering many of them if they don't work
yeah,
out or if they're
yeah,
not trainable.
yeah.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah, I heard that. Well, I can't imagine that the Sasquatch is easy to
No,
try and train.
they
I don't think that the military
they
can do
say they
anything
was
with them.
untrainable,
Hmm. Good,
and I know yes, many of
good.
them. And I'm gonna say it like this: many of the military, yes, over half of them are religious, and they're gonna say they're part of the Nephilim. They think like my grandfather and father. I
Yeah.
mean, they were highly religious too. So, I mean, when I would be reading the Bible or something, Rascal would have his head on my shoulder,
Yeah.
looking down at the Bible.
Mm-hmm.
He didn't feel fear or nothing. That was
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
just normal.
Well, I know that there's a lot of really amazing research being done by oh my God, why I can't remember her name. I'll link her information in the video. Um, so the results of the testing that they did on samples that they've gotten is that the Sasquatch are half of us, literally. Okay, we're
Yeah.
literally the same.
You see, they were once
And
these tall
also,
humans that were 8, 9, 10 million. They were 9, 10, 15 foot tall, what we once called the giants in the Bible. Well, when they started sending and doing these DNA experiments, like what's going on right now, well, that's what
yeah,
happened at
yeah.
Noah's flood.
So the
God
other, yeah,
said
right. The other
what
half, the other
they,
half is unknown.
yeah, yeah,
So, but they are directly related to us, brother, sister, kin, literally, genetically. So they have a mother DNA, the mitochondria, and the other is unknown.
yeah. Well, what I'm saying is, God, when He got angry,
Hmm.
Noah's flood. He scattered them, turned them into beasts, scattered them all around four corners of the earth, flooded the earth. He not only destroyed their cities, he destroyed the written language, he destroyed
Hmm.
everything.
Yeah. So, how many of the species would you say? Because it appears to me that there's a lot of hybridized created species of dogmen from the projects that have been let loose out there.
I'm gonna say four.
Okay. And they just let them loose to watch them and see what they do?
Yeah, this is what the Obama administration did because they
Hmm.
were so heavy into this super soldier project. It was unbelievable.
Yeah. Oh, they still are.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, during Dad and Grandpa's time, they said they were like in these certain areas in the underground. But why letting them up loose now?
Yeah.
What's the sense of doing that? What the hell's going
Well,
on?
yeah, one of them was actually killed recently, and
Yeah,
the military actually apprehended the guy that killed one, and he said that's one of our assets, and basically
yeah,
imprisoned the guy.
yeah.
Hmm.
Now the deer spirits, my grandfather explained, told me this is a cryptid that he describes as a form of demon that you can see with a herd of deer.
Oh.
He, this thing you can see either in late spring or late fall.
Hmm.
They would go with these creatures tend to attack hunters late in the afternoon or in the early morning
Hmm.
or at night.
Hmm.
Now I've seen these things with wire herded deer will stand up in the middle of the road where the deer cross. These
Hmm.
things are standing up. They have no hair on them whatsoever. They're either brown or light whitish pale.
Hmm.
I don't like these damn things.
Hmm.
These things will not go go up against a dog man whatsoever. They see that dog man, they're running.
Mm-hmm. And what are they? I mean,
Everybody around here will call them things zombie pale walkers.
yeah, they kind of look like it.
Yeah, and they're scary as hell. Some people I've known told me, he said, Robert, you went up against a Wendigo. I said, wait a minute. The way I described, I said, I thought Wendigos were like up in the Southwest
Mm-hmm.
or, around Indian
Mm-hmm.
reservations or way up there north
Mm-hmm.
around New York State, Wisconsin and Michigan and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Because I've never seen a Wendigo.
They're very common
But
around the Great Lakes.
yeah, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But I've seen these deer spirits, and if they're anything like a deer spirit, no, I don't want to know. I don't want nothing to do with these things.
Yeah.
Now,
I'm gonna show everybody the drawing that you sent me of the sketch of what Rascal looked like, just so that people can see.
yeah. This was, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's what he looked like.
Yeah.
His mane went all the way down his chest, and that's where I laid my head a lot.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay. I just wanted everyone to see that.
Yeah. And next thing my grandpa told me, it's like crawlers were what people call a posse or call a rake, which is like one of these posse names people give them, but they're actually a crawler. He says these are a vicious byproduct of the reptile people, or what we call invisible predators around here that make these damn baby noises.
Yeah, and they love eating humans.
Yeah. And these things are very vicious type of Nephilim, and they're an amphibian type creatures. And they were sent to clear out any predator. Like it didn't matter if it was a wolf, bear, human, other cryptids. And these creatures, they attack on sight.
What do you mean they were sent to get rid of any predator? Like when? I mean, there's like billions of people.
That's why they were created by these reptilian people to clear us out.
Oh, okay, I see. And you're talking way back in ancient, like millions of years ago, or whatever. Yeah.
Yeah, and hey, that includes for nowadays too. As they're coming out. I mean, they live in subterranean caves. They live in holes. They live in abandoned beaver dams. I mean, these creatures would get up to 46 foot tall, from what I've seen.
And what's interesting is when you hear them, the farther away they sound, the closer they are. The closer they sound, the farther away they are.
Yeah.
It's very bizarre.
Well, you see, they can project.
Yeah. Yeah, to confuse you because you think, oh, well, it's really far away and you feel like you're safer, but they're really right there. And then, you know.
It's like this. When I hear a first sound or hiss from them, my rifle's out.
For sure.
Yeah. And I'm standing up in the back of that truck or something, or I'm standing there beside Rascal and saying,
I mean, do you know how many people are having experiences coming across these things? Like this is huge. This is a huge problem. It's so many people.
Well, I've got some friends in New York City that have taken videos of these things. They would come up at night, activate their security lights. These things would get up there in their back patio, walk around on top of the tables and everything else. No.
I agree.
Leave. I mean, these things, I'm sorry. My grandfather explains that these are probably the most dangerous of all the cryptids.
I agree. Mm-hmm.
And it's poisonous there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, that's freaky.
Yeah. Shadow people. Yeah. Ooh. I put them in the same categories of black-eyed children, adults, and the
Mm-hmm.
hovering lights. These things are demons.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Because my grandfather says they're definitely demons,
Mm-hmm.
especially what happened to me with one of these shadow people.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that was in the first video. Yeah.
Yeah. These things are, I mean, the only way to ward off these shadow people, black-eyed children, is a holy water and the Lord's Prayer and salt.
And don't open the door.
And hell no, don't know. Well, this thing came through the doggone window.
Yeah.
And I had and the window was closed.
Mm-hmm.
And it came in through like a mist.
Yeah. Yeah.
I was sleeping at the time until I woke up and hello, there's this thing was, and here it comes.
Mm-hmm.
And thank God for my cat letting
Mm-hmm.
off a huge yowl and started clawing at it. Here it
Yeah.
comes. Thank God.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
It's like Stormy and Rascal knew what this thing was.
Mm-hmm. Right.
But what my grandfather explains about Dogman, he explains that they're upright, walking, super intelligent canines, the ultimate form of canine. Because you can communicate with them, you can talk with them,
Yeah.
and everything else,
Mm-hmm.
like we could with Rascal. Now we're going to go to what my dad knew about these things, which kind of scared me.
Mm.
Uh, my dad, this is a week before he died. He told me what he knew about Dogman. He said when Dad and his best friend were still in the reserves, they were approached by their base commander about a special canine kennel assignment. They agreed, and there were these 12-foot high, 50-foot wide underground kennels, about 120 each. They held type 2 dog men, anywhere from 6 to 8 foot tall, about 450 to 600 to 800 pounds each. They were anywhere from dark brown, gray to black in color. They were very well kept. They had their own beds and plenty of room each. They were very well ventilated, like many houses and apartments for them. And there's a 7-foot female named Evie that's assigned to my dad's best friend, who was his commanding officer. And Dad was assigned to a 8-foot tall male named Ace. And they both had yellow eyes. And they started training with them. I said, Dad, how many underground facilities are you talking about are here in the United States? He says there's 2 facilities in West Virginia, 2 in Kentucky, 2 in Denver, and there's 2 others out in the far west, one in California and the other at Washington, either Washington State or Oregon. I said, how far down are these things, Grandpa, Dad? He said anywhere from 3 to 10 miles down. He says they're anywhere from 30 to 40 miles, 30 miles long, 50 miles wide, each facility, with its own towns and cities, crops, and its own people and animals. He says these people and animals look real strange because of the ambient light. they've never been up to where we are at
Yeah.
all. Never.
Yeah.
They said their eyes are cobalt blue and their skin is real palish gray like. They said even the animals look real strange.
Mm-hmm. Wow.
Dad says they don't look nothing like they've ever seen before. And he says Evie and Ace, every time they went down there to these facilities to go training,
Mm-hmm.
Evie and Ace would do everything to get them back in that damn elevator and back up top. I mean, they
Yeah.
were doing everything. They were like literally freaking out. And sometimes they had to, you know,
Mm-hmm.
sedate them a little bit, and calm them down.
Mm-hmm. Wow.
And he said even the scientists down there were acting kind of robotic like stuff. He
Mm-hmm.
says, and every time they walk around or come near him, they said the both dogmen that was under there that was assigned to him would growl at them to keep them away.
Wow. Wow.
I mean, this is really strange.
Mm-hmm.
And they also had Bigfoot in these daggum, and here's what their handlers would do. They would turn these damn Bigfoot loose on these underground towns and cities, and these Bigfoot would kill either a person or one of the animals. And when they eat them, they said their eyes would glow real strange and they'd act funny. And they said, what was real strange, the blood out of these people that were born underground and all that, their blood type was weirdest of all. Was either their blood looked, he described as a type of yellowish green or a light blue blood. I said, Dad, are these even people at all? He says, the people of this, but it's nothing like he's ever seen. And then one day, some of these Bigfoot broke out and started attacking our handlers. And to get everybody out of that darn facility, Ace, Dad's dog man,
Mm-hmm.
challenged these Bigfoot because that Ace was trying to protect him and everybody else that was running for safety. These Bigfoot, there's three of them, they were at least 20 foot tall. Ace managed to kill two of them, but the third one is badly wounded, and Ace is already wounded and dying. Ace died, and one of the guards shot that last Bigfoot in the head with his 45.
Wow.
And they got rid of the bodies and stuff. Then Dad and his best friend were ordered to process Evie and the pups because
Mm-hmm.
there's three of them, and one of them was Rascal.
Mm. Wow. So what do you think the point of these facilities are that they're having all of these
It's part of the,
hybrid humans and animals like in a
I
city
don't know.
underground?
I don't know. They're trying to. I'm thinking they're trying to play God.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Right.
They're so deep in this damn super soldier
Mm-hmm.
program and superhuman program bullshit that they're actually playing God down there, and they don't need to be.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, that's for sure.
I'm sorry. I'm.
Mm-hmm.
This is just the way I think.
Yeah. No, yeah. I mean, clearly they're playing God. I mean, they're doing that above ground too, you know? So
Hey,
like,
yeah. Only they're doing a real super secret that they don't want you to see
yeah.
underground.
Right. Exactly.
Stuff.
Yeah. Yeah. And
Uh,
what was your like okay, so your dad and your grandfather both worked for the military.
yeah.
So they
Plus,
knew all this was going on.
yeah.
Well, how did they reconcile that by continuing to work with that? Like,
Well, when Grandpa retired, he kind of washed his hands of it. But when he retired with the rank of rear admiral
Mm-hmm. I
because of
mean,
his.
did they have conflicting feelings about this? Like, were they just like, this is,
Yes, but they kept their mouth shut about it. That's the
yeah.
only way you could do.
Hmm.
That's the only way you could do.
Were they afraid that they couldn't leave because they knew too much?
No, it wasn't that.
No.
I mean, Grandpa, when he was a rear admiral, he had clearance that the president of the United States didn't have.
Hmm. Well, all the more reason why he would think he can't leave,
Yeah.
right?
No, they left him because here's the thing: they knew Dad and Grandpa could keep their mouth shut.
Hmm. I don't see the military going, yeah, like they're good guys. Hey, we trust them. You're going to keep your mouth shut.
Yeah.
I don't see them doing that. Like there's got to
Yeah.
be something else because normally if you have that kind of clearance, you can't walk away. You're never going to leave the
Yeah.
military, even if you retire.
Yeah.
So you don't get that kind of clearance. You don't get to know this kind of information unless you are completely 100% owned by them.
Oh yeah, in many ways they were. I mean, their friends. When my grandfather passed away, there was a lot of military there.
Hmm.
Just like when my father passed away.
Hmm. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I just find it very interesting that they kept their mouth shut.
Yeah.
They knew what was going on. They didn't agree with it, but somehow they were allowed to, you know,
Yeah.
they were basically given clearance because there's no way they didn't know you
Yeah.
had Rascal.
Yeah.
Hmm. Definitely.
I mean, I was never allowed to go into the military because I'm diabetic with a kidney disorder. I
Yeah.
was born that way. So as a military, I've still got my selective service number, so I
Mm-hmm.
can still work with the government and all that. But
Well, I don't think you want to go in the military.
no, no.
You
I'm
know,
61 years old. I'm too old now. So
no, that's not why. I think it's an
yeah,
ethical thing. Like,
yeah.
they're not there to help us. They're not there to help you.
No. And I don't
They're
say all military's bad. I'm just saying
no, there's good
people.
people,
Yeah, yeah,
but the military, you can't convince me they're good.
yeah,
They've got their own agendas, and the things that
yeah,
they're doing to me is just pretty unimaginable. I mean,
yeah,
even this little bit of information about what they're doing to Dogman, I mean, that's just a tiny speck of, you know,
yeah.
sand, and it's
Mhm.
alarming. God only knows what else is going on. So,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. Last chapter I want to get into because I added this because I'm adding on to my book little by little.
Yeah.
This is where the whole community saw Rascal as a hero.
Hmm.
And I put it down, the rescue of little Mary.
Hmm.
Now, this happened in 1998. This incident I didn't tell in all of my interviews with the several podcasts. This incident happened in the early spring of 1998. Little Mary is Sally's best friend. Well, she was in the LDL chasing butterflies with her parents. This is 3 months before my grandpa died. And when she was chasing butterflies, she wandered off and went missing for 2 days. Everybody was looking for her. Now, I was going to the backside of my family's homestead with Rascal that was close to the LBL outside Thailand. We were going to follow the creek back there that hooks up to the Cumberland River. We was going to follow it all the way back to cut some wood, to cut enough wood for winter. Well, we went back got off Highway 75. We got off there and started walking back. We walked about three or 4 miles. No, it was 5 miles all the way back when we followed a creek because we turned into a bend under the two electric fences that led to the LBL when there's a fallen tree there. And I'd already parked my truck 5 miles back. It was about 7 a.m. in the morning. Everybody's still looking for little Sally. Me and I saw a tree that was falling across the creek. I heard something crying. I looked down there, and there's a dirty little girl. And I looked up. She looked up at me, and it was Sap. It was little Mary. I heard a snort and a growl. I looked up, and it was the biggest type 2 conehead Bigfoot that I've ever seen in my whole entire life. It was black, red eyes, up around 1,500 pounds. This damn thing was at least 20 foot tall. It was reaching down trying to grab her. Rascal immediately, I've never seen Rascal get this mad before. I've never seen him get this mad before in my life. Because I think when he saw that Bigfoot and he saw little Mary, he lost it. His claws and razors immediately flipped out. He jumped real high across that creek. This Bigfoot grabbed a sapling 6-foot tree, pulled it out of the ground, going to hit Rascal with it. While they was doing this, I ran across that. I slid down that creek bank, ran across there, grabbed hold of little Mary, put her face up against my chest so she couldn't see what was going on. I mean, we could both hear it. When I got to the far side of the bank, away from those two, Rascal slammed his claws and razors through this thing's stomach. It was on its tippy toes. When he put his hand through that thing's stomach, he grabbed a hold of its spinal column like this and pulled it out this way. This was the most savage thing I've seen Rascal do. Then he grabs, with his free hand, grabs that sapling tree and rams it and twists it slowly up its rectum. And one savage shove, and that thing went like that and died like that in place. Then he let it drop. I mean, he had blood all over him and everything else Rascal did, from the top of his head all the way down to his chest. He came back to us. He saw how scared we were. I was just shaking.
So what was he doing with Mary? What was the point of
The thing was trying to grab Mary.
For what?
I don't know, to eat her, whatever. I guess it'd been chasing her.
Well, you'd think that somebody as tiny as Mary wouldn't be much food for a 20-foot, 1,500-pound, like that's like eating a cracker.
Yeah, I don't know. But she was scared and she was holding on to me real tight. And then Rascal telepathically connected me and he said, "Dad, let's go home.
Yeah.
Let's go home now." I said, "Okay." And he carried us both out of the creek. I put little Sally on his back.
Little Mary.
Yeah, on his back, and she held on to him real super tight. Had her arms around his neck and stuff, and he was walking 4-legged this time, real soft, and I was leaning against him because I was in shock, and I was leaning up against him. And he basically carried both of us back to the truck, and when we got back to the truck and everybody's there waiting for us, they must have heard that fight. There's Dad and Grandpa with Lucy. Now, when Lucy saw Rascal, she immediately jumped out to him. Dad and Grandpa and my girlfriend Amanda and Teresa were there. They both ran directly to me and Rascal and checked us out. And they claimed Rascal because he had couple of bite marks on his arm,
Mhm.
and I was just shaking. They sedated me, just get me to stop shaking. And
Mhm.
the deputy went with two of the deputies went with Dad and Grandpa and Lucy to go
Mhm.
get this Bigfoot.
So, just out of
Little
curiosity,
Lucy, now little Lucy jumped down off Rascal, ran to her mama.
little
Hugged
little Lucy or Mary?
little Mary went to her mom and stuff. Her mom came over.
So, out of curiosity, did the Conehead Sasquatch keep Mary in that one location for 2 days? He didn't take her and bring her back to their.
No, as far as I could tell, and what we could tell from Mary, she says she kept running and moving away from the Bigfoot because she hardly didn't sleep or nothing. But she said she's so tired, she's trying to hide under that tree. And about that time, that's when me and Rascal came up.
But how could a little girl get away from a cone Sasquatch when all he has to do is just hold her?
That's what I couldn't figure out.
Yeah. And why would he keep her in the same area for 2 days? Because it
No,
doesn't sound
I
like
don't.
he was going to eat her because, this is two days later.
Yeah,
So if the intention was to, raise her with their clan, wherever they're from in the woods,
yeah.
then he would have brought her back there, right?
That would be my see. There's so many factors I don't know. And Grandpa
Yeah.
says maybe she was she was moving around so much that the Bigfoot, someone even probably he had problems of keeping her, you know, trying to get a hold of her and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe she was moving on and he was following her and stuff.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Right.
That'd be my only thing.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, when we got back home, we just felt out tired.
Well, I'm sure tired and
Yeah,
PTSD.
and they burned that Bigfoot when they took it back to the burning pile, got rid of it.
Mm-hmm. Right.
I mean, that thing even towered over Rascal.
Yeah. Hmm.
I, Grandpa said, thank God for his training we gave him. But those metal claws gave him a huge advantage too.
Yeah.
I mean, that I've never seen
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
huge Bigfoot like that.
Yeah, that's massive.
Good God.
So we're gonna wrap it up. So is there
Uh-huh.
anything you want to add before we
Well,
finish?
I'm like this. I mean, when we're living in towns and stuff, we're living pretty much in a controlled area.
Mm-hmm.
But when we go out there in the woods, that's wildlife. You're not in your area no more.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's their home.
Yeah,
We all got to
right.
be careful. I mean,
Definitely.
look at me after Rascal and Lucy are gone. I don't even go out in the woods anymore. I
Mm-hmm.
don't even go out to walk out in the parks anymore. I was like, I'm sorry.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Definitely, I think we need a level of cautiousness, especially because there's many kinds of cryptids and
Yeah,
they seem to be all coming out now. So
yeah,
yeah, definitely. Anything
yeah.
else you want to add?
Well, I'm gonna say I'm thankful to have Rascal and Lucy.
I think Rascal sounds like absolutely a phenomenal being, and I think you're so fortunate to have had that
Yeah,
experience and to have had him be your best friend.
yeah. To
I
me, he
think,
was the ultimate dog man.
yeah.
If anyone, if there's any dog men that would actually live with people,
Mm-hmm.
it'd have to be a Dogman like Rascal.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he
That's
sounds,
what I'd say for every person here living in USA,
yeah.
even for homeless people to have a Dogman like Rascal to protect them. Because look, we gotta. There's enough evil in this world.
Mm-hmm. Sure is. Yeah. Well, I want to thank you,
Uh-huh.
Robert. If you do get around to finding those pictures in
Yeah.
storage, let me know and I'll be happy to do a video and post those pictures. I'm sure everybody,
Uh-huh.
including myself, would like to see
Yeah.
Rascal. So if that
Yeah.
happens, let us
Well, you
know.
already got one picture of Rascal,
Yeah.
so
Yeah. And yeah, I really thank you for sharing this incredible
yeah.
life.
I love being here. I love
So
talking about Rascal. I mean, he was part of my life.
yeah, you're very fortunate to have
Yeah.
had that.
And if there's anybody else that's with a dog man right now, I mean,
Well, I don't know of
makes
anybody
things even
except
better
you.
for me. Yeah. Well, I'm figuring like this. I can't be the only person, so you
Uh,
know.
I think there are more than a few out there, but I don't think
Yeah.
it's safe for them to come out with
Yeah.
anything. So we're
Yeah.
not going to know about it
Yeah.
until maybe like with you after
Yeah.
they're gone and yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, I want to thank you, Robert,
Yeah.
and I want to thank everybody. And I want to wish you all a good night or a good morning wherever you are.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay,
Okay.
thanks. Thank
Thank
you.
you.